Hey guys, Mike here. So we got another busy week ahead. Hope you had a great weekend. Just got a new president sworn in once again. So he signed executive orders. So we'll see how the market, I guess digest all that fun stuff. We do have one event taking place this week. Is economic news. There's not a lot of it, but there's one event taking place, not even in this country, but it has to do with liquidity and what runs the market. Liquidity, right? And so that's why I'm gonna bring it up and explain what it is, because something. Look. Until 3 years ago, I didn't know what the heck it was. And so I'm going to explain that to you and break it down to where we can all understand a little bit. But the biggest part to take away is liquidity. That's the big thing. And it might be going away. And so that could slow down the market. Okay. So that's why I at least want to bring it up. Also, we'll go over some other stocks and everything. We'll talk about the indexes. I'll bring up some stocks I haven't really mentioned before as well to keep an eye on. They're in an uptrend. And so that's why I'm going to bring them up. But, I was got to get your opinion on the meme coin launch from President Trump. Happened Friday night. For those who don't know, I'm just curious what you think here. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Donald Trump launched a meme coin Friday night in the Asian session. Immediately goes up to $9 billion in market cap. And then what's funny about the disclaimer on the website is like, Trump is not intended to be or the subject of an investment opportunity nor a security of any type, and is not political and has nothing to do with any political campaign, political office, or government agency. And then I believe it was Sunday. That ain't enough. Here, we'll launch another meme coin called Melania. So, and of course, as soon as that launched, everything just came crashing down, which is kind of funny. But, understand all the big boys lined up to kiss the ring. And you can see when he's inaugurated, the money flows in, baby. 277 from his two inaugurations. You can see Amazon, Meta, Google, Microsoft, Uber. Tim Cook paid the money to try to get a pass on those tariffs, which I think he actually accomplished, believe it or not. Sam Altman AI, Ford, GM, Toyota, Boeing, Hyundai, Stellantis, whoever that is, and Lockheed Martin. So they all lined up, wrote their checks, and let us know in the comments how much money you and your company sent to Trump, which I bet you is zero for that inauguration. But guess what? Pay to play, baby. That's what it's all about in Washington, D.C. That's what they all do, okay? Is the reason why every president has a best-selling book afterwards and nobody actually reads them, because the companies actually buy those books. That's why there's a little mark beside, their best-selling book, because they already, it's basically, it's services already rendered. That's what they're getting paid for. That's why you see, Goldman Sachs and all them having these ex-presidents up there to give speeches like they know anything what they're talking about. But it's services rendered. All of them do it, including Trump. They're all politicians. Okay, that's the way it works. So let me know what you think about those meme coins. And what's funny, I made the joke. You're talking about a guy who's been in the real estate industry for decades, right? Went through countless, I don't know how many recessions he's been through, 6 bankruptcies, all this stuff to get his net worth to, 1 to 6 billion, depending on what source you go to. And then he launches a meme coin, and his net worth goes all the way up to 60 billion in less than 24 hours. Can you imagine he's sitting there looking at that going, what the heck? I went through all these years doing this, actually putting up buildings and da-da-da-da, and then we launched this meme coin, which has literally no purpose, no usability, and 60 billion? Really? I mean, that's crazy, man. That is just nuts. But that's the world we live in, right? That's the world we live in. So let me know what you think about it, your true opinion. I'm very curious. Now, the event to watch out for, which we'll see when we get the results, I don't know when they're going to announce this, is going to be the Bank of Japan board members meeting. And will they increase their rate? It's January 24th when the meeting is. It's like a 90% chance of a hike here, and this is big because remember, they've kept negative rates for a long time, okay? And the reason why this is important, from my understanding, and feel free to comment on this, it just has to do with liquidity. And for years, what's happening is these hedge funds have gone over there and they've borrowed the yen at 0 rates, turn around, buy dollars, turn around, take that money, and buy equities of some kind, right? Which, of course, is basically free money to help push the market up. So if they start raising rates, now all of a sudden they have to figure that in. I know 0.25 don't sound like a lot, but when you're talking about billions of dollars, that becomes a lot, right? It decreases that margin that they already had. And so then if they do multiple increases this year, that will do the same thing. So it's something we just got to keep an eye on to see how it does, because again, it's just like anything else. Our rates are high over here, so that's putting pressure when people are trying to borrow money, and puts pressure on the margins, bottom lines. Well, this does the same thing. It's just something that most of us didn't know anything about for years, right? And so let me know when you heard about the carry trade. It was me, it was 3 years ago. I was like, what's the carry trade? And so that's why people keep an eye on this. And you've seen this, what was it, a year ago or whatever, when they were even talking about maybe raising rates, and the market went down and kind of flipped out a little bit. Well, that could be what this is. So just keep an eye on that. Again, the hedge funds are going to make their money. But, even I don't care if you take like 100 million, 200 million, 300 million to go buy equities, it's still money, right? It's still money. It won't be going into the market. So that's what we got to keep an eye on. So that's going to happen this week. So we'll find out. Now, going into the indexes here. Let's look at the momentum first. We'll start on the weekly chart, the higher time frame. You can see we do have a weekly bullish stochastic RSI cross. Now, doesn't mean it's going to go straight up. And what you really want to do is, when you really get to see your big movement, is when it gets near that 50 mark right there in the middle. That's when you really get to see the move start to come up. But it does mean it's trying to turn, right? It's a weekly time frame, so it's not a speedboat. This is the freighter, right? And when this gets turned back up, that's actually a good thing for the markets. And if we just kind of bring this box down here, you can see on each one of these last bullish stochastic RSI crosses, those areas, you get fake outs, like that was a fake out, came down to the area we're in now, did a bullish cross, and of course away we went. And so that's what we're looking for, see if that's going to start getting some bigger momentum or not. And, it's all about momentum, right? That's what we're looking for. So that's why I'm pulling this up for you. When you come over here to the QQQ, you can see it hadn't even got down to oversold territory. It hasn't got the bullish cross yet. You come to IWM, it does have that cross on the weekly time frame. This one's a little different. This one drags. Even when it gets to weekly, this one really is about getting above that 50 area. If that line gets above the 50 area, that's when you get to see the bigger moves, because obviously these are much more high beta type stocks on IWM, much more risky than the SPY. And so that's when you get to see some really nice moves. And we pull up the SPY on the daily. You can see we got a bullish MACD cross down there. Again, doesn't mean the market's going to go straight up. It's below that zero line. You really want it above the zero line. That means bulls are fully back in charge. But you can see we did break that trend line, and you can see exactly where we got rejected. It was that line I had on there all last week saying around the 600-ish mark is where you need to get above, and that's where it rejected at. Okay, no surprise there. You can see it right there. And so again, could we come back down right now with the futures being so green? Unless they sell off overnight, and then we're going to end up gapping up right over that line is what's going to end up happening. Most likely, we'll have to see, because again, this is a inauguration day. It could be a sell the news event, all this kind of stuff. And the futures are only open until 1 o'clock, and so they close early. So we'll see what happens tomorrow morning. You can see the Qs. Right here, we end up closing what it was a daily fair value, guys. What we did, we broke above that trend line. Now, some people will say, look, this right here is actually the trend line, which is fine with me. And you can see it broke above it, come back down, retested it, and moved up. However you want to look at it, it looks like a falling wedge to me, but no matter how you want to do it. But you just want to stay above 520 is really your key. If you get above 520, 525 is on deck. You can see you don't have the bullish MACD cross, so the Qs are kind of lagging right now because of what the Mag 7's been doing. And so the Mag 7, up one day, down big the next, Apple's struggling. And so you have to have those, stocks like NVIDIA and Apple start to push up for the Qs to catch up. But right there, that 528 to 529 areas where you want to get above, okay? That's what you need to start having to get that higher high going. And so that's what we're going to look at on that one. I'll even put a rectangle here to see if we're going to break through this tomorrow or not. It will be hard to do if the Mag 7 doesn't pump. And so, we're going to look at a few of those. IWM, very simple here. You can see we still have not broke that 526 area. And so if it can break above there, the RTY, which is the futures of IWM, was up like 1.5% today. So I'm not going to be surprised if we gap up and actually hit this area up here tomorrow if the futures hold right there, which is where the 50's at. That descending trend line's right there as well. It's about 1.73% move, maybe 1.5 to get there. Also, you have a daily fair value gap. So no surprise we gap up there, but the 226 just has to hold. And you can see these volume gaps on the side right here. That is all times high at the top right there. So just kind of keep that in mind. It does have a bullish MACD cross below the zero. Again, remember the stochastic I showed you, and that gets above 50. This gets to taking off. And you can see 222 is really the opponent control. So as long as you hold 226, 222, you're looking good, okay? And then if we break above that trend line, 235 is the next area to be looking at. Now, semiconductors, SMH, you can see we broke out, came back down, retested right here. Now we're at this area right here, which has been support, resistance. You get above that, we're going to around 264, 270. Now, in order for this to happen, what has to happen is, you can see these stocks right here. What's number one? NVIDIA. We're going to talk about that one. Taiwan Semiconductors, Broadcom, and some others. Got to start moving, right? When you come over and look at NVIDIA, what's it been doing? Straight up just ranging for 3 months. Anywhere from 127 to 153. That is it. That's a kind of a small range in a way when you think about NVIDIA. I mean, this thing's been split multiple times. And so that has to start breaking out. It has to start moving higher. I've talked about the levels many times. 140 is your level to the upside. cannot break below like 126 right there, or probably going down that golden pocket area, so that's not good, and the 120 area, which is where the 200 sits. So that's what you're looking at on that one. I think as long as Tesla, if it stays hot, it's going to, for some reason, put pressure on NVIDIA to stay down. Now, looking at AVGO, though, looks like it wants to break out. See, it keep testing right here, and this is how AVGO does. Most stocks do. It keeps hitting and hitting and hitting it. And so this right here, if it gets above that trend line, around like 237.50 right there, boom, this right here could go to all-time highs. And again, that's a heavily weighted stock in the SMH. MU is not as heavily weighted, but when you look at it, it's had just a huge recovery since that gap down on earnings. But the big thing of this one, you don't have to front run this. You just look at this area right here. Multiple rejections. I mean, multiple rejections. You saw the hard rejection last time, even before earnings. And so, again, you can just wait for it to get above like 109, 113 area right there to see. And if it gets above that, most likely you're going to all-time highs on MU. I mean, that's the big thing. Just wait. You don't have to try to be, or you can try to trade it up that area and then see what happens. And this one has absolutely had just a crazy recovery. And so, again, it's another one you're looking at. It's the weekly time frame you're looking at here. It's got a bullish MACD cross down there as well. Not above the zero line right now. That's when bulls are truly in charge. That may take a minute. So, again, watch the semiconductors. Tesla, we put this channel in, I think it was last Wednesday or something like that. And so far, it's working out pretty well. There you got the rejection on Wednesday, came down right there on Thursday, boom, top, rejected here on Friday. And we talked about this shaded area right here, which is a daily fair value gap we talked about and said probably. And every time it tapped into it, it got rejected from there. So now we get to see, are we going to come back down to the bottom of this channel or go ahead and close out that daily fair value gap? And that's what you get on fair value gaps. You get reactions like that, okay? And Tesla, again, it closed below that 426.17 area, which we'd already marked out at that fib, but it's right on it, right? And it's had some really big moves the last 3 or 4 sessions here, as you can see. And so the question is going to be, are we going to sit here and come down and then turn back up, start heading back up? Because again, it is in the bullish channel right now, like NVIDIA. It's not range bound right now. And so, and then get a reaction off this right here around between the 440, 450 area, which also reached the top of that channel. That's the big thing right here. And of course, the levels to watch below, if we do start to come down the bottom channel, it's going to be that 410, 414 area. That's key. So 410, 414 to the downside, 440, 450 to the upside on Tesla. And as I mentioned in Saturday's video, watch FinTech because you can see the FinTech ETF like is about to try to break out. And watch Upstart, which is a high flyer. I mean, this thing right here has to get above that ascending trend line first. I'd say get above 71.38, and this thing is going to fly just like it always does. But also watch for the rejection right there as well. But if that FinTech ETF does break out, then you're going to see a lot of these stocks start moving. They've already had, decent moves over the last week or two. Another one to watch, more of a utility type stock, is going to be CEG. It's one of the top performers, I believe, of 2025 so far, Constellation Energy. But you can clearly see it's been an uptrend, but it's been in this channel. And you can see we're getting rejected and we're getting ready to hit the top of that channel again. So if it goes up to the top, watch and see if we get a rejection back down, but it's clearly in an uptrend. So you'd have a good buying opportunity if we did get rejected off the top, start trailing back down right there. Pretty clean so far. We'll see if utilities continue to outperform. Somebody asked me about this one. This one's one of the, I don't know, it's like the toughest one for me to chart because every time you think it's going to break out, it doesn't. And then all of a sudden something comes out and boom, it explodes higher and things like that. But again, RSI is above 50 right now. What you're looking for is 28.41 to get broken right there. Actually, 28.71 to get broken. If that happens, and this one clearly respects its fibs, right? You can see it, how many times it bounces. That's why I've kept these fibs in place the whole time. It's going to go up to 29.06, and then from there, 35.03, I believe it is, to the top. And it continues to respect that ascending trend line right now, continues to hold that. So if you only don't break down below like 24.50, should be good to go. So if so, that golden pocket is going to come into play. Now, a lot of earnings this week. We didn't have anything going on today. Tomorrow, though, here we go. Charles Schwab, 3M, DR Horton. Look over to the right. There's going to be Netflix, United, which has been like a meme stock, Interactive Brokers, Capital One. And then Wednesday, P&G, Abbott, Johnson & Johnson, Halliburton, GE, Vernova. And then you're going to go over and see Alcoa, Discovery, a few others right there after that one. And then we come over Thursday, you got GE Aerospace. That'll be interesting. American Airlines, And then over to the right, Texas Instruments will be a big one. Intuitive, CSX, which I believe is the railroad company, if I'm not mistaken. And then on Friday, Verizon, American Express, and a few others below that. And a lot of energy companies you recognize. When it comes to data, really nothing going on. You got the WEF annual meetings going on. And then you're going to have Thursday unemployment claims are happening. Crude oil inventory is going to be interesting to see how this goes and how the oil stocks respond to drill, baby, drill. And then Friday, flash manufacturing PMI, flash services PMI, existing home sales, revised University of Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation expectations. So buckle up for another fun week. It's going to be nice and volatile. We'll see, all the executive orders are getting signed, news coming out of the White House and stuff, how the market reacts to it. So let me know how you're dealing with it in the bottom right here and what you think. Please hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. Think about signing up for the membership. Less than a McDonald's combo, and that's everything you get with it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.